Hi everyone, it's me again. Squish Gang is present, facing the wrong way, and I'm back after a short break that I took because I had to do some schoolwork. Frankly, I'm still a full-time university student. I'm doing all my semesters in a row, so sometimes we're a little busy. I was also really out here thinking I was gonna do like a nice, subtle, bronzy look with my AVH Norvina. I ended up making this like warm tone liner mess, blushy, pinky kind of thing. So yeah, anyways, thank you to everybody who has subscribed recently. People were very kind with my most recent Jimmy Snow video compared to before. I had my 1,000 subscriber special. It's been really fun and I'm really appreciative of everything that I've gotten. Also, I have a community tab now that I'm going to put weekly posts on. I'm also going to do suggestion threads that people can suggest content. Next video will probably be a podcast episode, waiting for some more Gabby Hanna videos to come out. And if I seem a little bit cranky, I hurt my tooth. Went to the dentist today. She said I kind of just have to like wait it out. So I'm just in a little bit of pain. Haven't been able to eat much. So I have a smoothie so I can put the straw further in my mouth. Yeah. Anyways, I encourage everybody to comment on the thread that I'll put up after this video. And I was on Cheshire Vic's live stream about a week ago, maybe a little more than a week ago, I can't remember, a Friday. I can't keep track of time anymore. And so that was another thing that I will tag below because it's been put on her channel if you wanted to see me interacting with Katie Daisy, Claire Bear, Cheshire, and I think Unicorn. Everyone's in the video. I just like don't want to call her by her name. Today's topic is going to be why we trusted influencers in the first place, because a lot of people are very curious as to how the people garner the fame that they did in the first place, right? And it is very interesting because I think it's a little bit more of a media psychological theory than people think it would be, given the fact that YouTube is such a unique platform compared to other ones that were in its place before it. So, first off, I wanted to start with a common rhetorical device that people are well aware of. People hear this all the time, right? This is McLuhan's "the medium is the message." Thinking about the medium of television, for example, right? That really created the modern day celebrity because that allowed people to watch film, to watch television shows, to watch commercials. And these new people that they're kind of able to, with like, as far as seeing their acting capabilities, the characters they want to portray and bring to life, even familiar mediums such as novels and news stories. But what McLuhan, I don't think, conceptualized in the original theory was to what level social media and internet fame would apply this medium as the message. Because now there's that access to the character, to the medium, to the adaptation that existed prior, but now you have direct access to the person. Like, you can comment on my video, comment on the video here, and I can respond to you and we can have a conversation in the comments. I do that with a lot of people. I'm very responsive. So you have direct access to me, someone who's interpreting something that I'm aware of and giving it to you. So this newfound access makes the medium and the messenger, not only the medium and the messenger together, rather than simply the medium depicting a message that the receiver has to absorb. Now there is immediate responsive feedback from the observer to the person who made the medium or who's working with the medium, right? So in this case, the medium being YouTube videos. And it's just so interesting that I don't think anyone would have ever conceptualized where it was going to go, given the fact that TV and movie had such a distance between the celebrity and the audience. You cannot walk up to like Brad Pitt today and be like, hey, you know, give me your number, I'm gonna send you messages. While, for example, someone, social media influencers have Twitter inboxes and they have, you know, all these different things, and there's less of that separation because you don't see them with like guards or with celebrity status and all these kinds of things, because now even the celebrities have hopped onto these mediums that are being utilized by these influencers. Kathleen Jamieson talks about what's called electronic eloquence. This is a more modernized version of kind of these media theories that existed in the 80s. That was when a big boom of them kind of started to exist as kind of celebrity status built to a whole new level with music videos and television films and all of these kind of, and the large wide access of television and film and news to the mass audience. Because like when TV came out in the 60s, 50s, 60s, that wasn't, not everybody had a TV set, obviously, or that's color TV, but you know what I mean. So Kathleen Jamieson talks about electronic eloquence, okay, and there are these 5 characteristics that people utilize to build bonds with their audience. Now, I'm going to apply each of these bonds to a specific influencer to kind of explain the theory with a practical application. So first theory we have is called personalization, which would when the person would tell personal stories to build a relationship with the audience. This theory I decided to apply to these storytime YouTubers such as Tana Mongeau and Gabby Hanna.
But it's all for the greater good of telling you the story, because it is absolutely, without a doubt, in the top 5 craziest things to ever happen to me. Maybe even top 3. I don't want to say story.
I remember this story when I was talking to a childhood friend, and I cannot believe I just can't believe that I haven't told this story yet. And I have to warn you before I get all of the comments telling me what an idiot I am. There are going to be so many parts in this story where you hear it and you're just gonna be like,
because the whole point of their medium was to tell personal stories, right? And then they would utilize their kind of building audience and building persona to add in details, to add a certain spin on it. Tana Mongeau's being the over excessive use of inflection of voice, inflection of mood, as well as exaggerating details. While someone like Gabby Hanna would try to incorporate her personality, her strong personality, as much as she possibly could have. And I'm saying like good Gabby Hanna, not like whatever the hell's going on right now. Even in her most recent series, there's this constant trying to fit it in like you're just having a conversation. She has very casual stance, very casual gaze. She's sitting cross-legged. She's usually kind of swinging around. She's literally smoking marijuana on the, like she's, you know, consuming these things.
another day without sheets.
And she's right in front of the camera, right? So she's just there. Like if you were just sitting in a bed with your friend talking. This is the personalization where you're building a personal connection with them through the use of these stories, which now, unfortunately, Gabby Hanna has utilized this kind of personalization to create these more manipulative narratives than the ones that existed before, where they were just talking about her life. Even then, regardless, some of them were still problematic, like that one of the girl passing away. But it is what it is, I guess, to some extent. People like Tana Mongeau still keep that same kind of like I'm your friend. Snapchats the parties, telling you about her sex life, telling her about her clothes, telling her about the men that she knows, telling about the women that she knows, the different secrets in this. Like she will expose people on Twitter. She'll throw out kind of secrets about people and all these things that like to keep people in the know of these influencer identities by telling these stories. Because in modern, she's not much of a storytime YouTuber, but she utilizes like, instead of that kind of story format, sit in front of the camera form, she just kind of does more of like snippets and things such as Snapchat stories, Instagram stories, tweets, etc. OnlyFans posts, stuff like that. Now, for the second YouTuber, we are going to have what's called the self-disclosure. This is when somebody will apply personal convictions and experiences. Who convictions can align with morals, right? And that's kind of a part of it as well. And I would say that atheist conviction for Jimmy Snow is the best example that I can come up with. He built his channel based on people feeling how he felt in regards to convictions of the Christian nature, right? So people that were leaving Christianity that felt the same way about it that he did, that it was kind of a harmful society to be a part of, harmful aspects of society to be a part of, harmful group to be associated with.
Escaping the Mormon church is no simple task. Now, it's not a literal compound, and these days it's pretty much the same level of cultiness as most other religions, with a few small feature exceptions. Being Mormon is a state of mind just as much as it is a type of membership, and it is something very hard to escape. So today, I'm going to share with you my Mormon timeline and how I escaped Mormonism.
So given that there's that change, right? They can apply their notions with his convictions. They can kind of bond over that. And that's what his whole channel is based off of, right? The way that leaving religion changes you, the personal convictions that he is now able to display, the feelings and the actions that he is now able to do, given that he is not part of that group of people. So I would say, because that's such a strong community as far as just a general conviction that they can all kind of come in together with. It's just, that's such a, convictions when they relate to like morality are such a big component to target an audience with, to gain an audience from. So that's why he, I think, he was able to garner the fame that he did. And even now that other people are able to make videos on him and it gets so many views, a part of that is because they want to see if their convictions have been applied properly, because they see that there's some shift in his attitude. And I think that was kind of a big part of everything that happened with him and Gabby Hanna in those videos. Now, number 3, we have conversational tone. This is that very relaxed. I talked about that. I touched on that with Gabby Hanna, where she's kind of talking to you like you're a friend in the room. I would say that James Charles would be one of the best ones, given the fact that he even calls his audience sisters, right? Hi, sisters. James Charles here.
Hi sisters, James Charles here, and welcome back to my YouTube video. In today's video, we're going to be playing with a ton of new makeup products, but there is going to be a twist. Some of them are going to be very, very, very cheap, and some of them are going to be extremely bougie, expensive makeup products, and I'm gonna try to have to guess which one is which.
So that conversational tone, you're relating to your audience as cleanly as possible. You're very relaxed with them, you're very happy, you're talking about really casual things. You're not, James Charles rarely is authentic with difficult personal struggles, because people don't, it's a very cruel part of mental health that exists, that people don't want to talk about when things are really bad. People don't want to talk about when you're at your low point. And that's why conversational tone is the best one to bond your audience with, to keep everything casual, to keep everything light. Like for people like James Charles, he would talk about, you know, how he feels about guys, how he feels about makeup products, how he feels about other celebrities, how he feels about working with people, how he feels about his house and his dog. These are all kind of more small talk topics, nothing too deep and complex. He's not talking about the secrets of the universe or, you know, traumas that he's faced, you know, because even the first time that he kind of laid out that he thinks about these things, I would argue, is the taking accountability video, which he literally deleted. So conversational tone is one of the most universal ones, and that's why even on the diagram that I'm looking at, it doesn't have a description, because it's kind of obvious. Like, so many people use it, because the problem is that people are not big fans of jargon, which is why I always worry about my videos and I make sure to define all the terms that I possibly can, because I don't want people to get lost in the jargon that they don't know, because that is kind of gatekeeping the form of communication that I'm trying to deliver and the message that I'm trying. Now, number 4, this is called verbal distillation. This is described as short snippets designed to convey complex subjects. Now, this is gonna be based. I picked Amanda Ensing because of her video about American wokeness. Because utilizing the term wokeness as a way to describe an entire political affiliation of people that disagree with your values is verbal distillation. Throwing every single person who believes in vaccines, who believes in good immigration policies, who believes in left-leaning politics, who believes in, you know, not having the wall, who believes in equal taxation, etc., should not be thrown into a category of wokeness. You have put everything into this really simple term that people can use their own notions and apply to, that can twist the narrative.
Welcome to episode 3 of my brand new YouTube series, Beauty and Brains, where I talk about politics, faith, current events, controversial topics, all of it, and do my makeup. I have a lot to say today.
And I think that's how many people in certain political affiliations can kind of garner their audiences. Actually, that's exactly how it works, because these 5 terms, personalization, self-disclosure, conversational tone, verbal distillation, and the next one being visual dramatization, are actually adapted from political campaigns and political ads that people were making as the US elections kind of became a more pop culture scandalous way of structuring democracy. So Amanda Ensing, you kind of turning this political nature that has been scandalized on like news media, or I almost said like boomer media. I guess what would be called mainstream media. Her applying that to social media is kind of an example of that bridge between the old terminologies from the 80s that related to political propaganda. I won't say propaganda, well, a lot of it was propaganda, but political advertisements and popular culture and the general audience. And she's taking all of those things and she's bringing it to this new social media audience. While I don't think she realizes that that's what she's doing, and how kind of interesting that is to look at from a rhetorical standpoint, it's definitely compelling to watch and to think about. I also do want to say that Amanda Ensing, if people don't know, was a makeup YouTuber who during the 2020 general election in the United States of America seemed to have all of a sudden gone from someone who was more or less silent about political affiliations to someone who was very far right, outspoken Republican. I would argue a la Caitlyn Bennett type of personality. And a lot of people like to say that she shouldn't be spoken about, given that it seems that she's trying to chase clout with that outspoken right-wing affiliation. I do think that not addressing the effect that it has, the way that she's able to use these kind of strategies such as verbal distillation would actually be more counterintuitive than not mentioning it at all. However, I think that's the clout chasing paradox, which might be my next video. Let me know down below or in the community tab. I do think while the antics probably should not be interacted with on a micro basis, given like something like a Twitter thread, like you shouldn't be like fighting with Amanda Ensing on Twitter, but it got disabled. You shouldn't be fighting with Amanda Ensing on Twitter. I do think addressing the utilization of utilizing these terms and weaponizing with verbal distillation is a very important thing to address, to allow the general audience to kind of see what's happening and see where she's going with her message. There are other ways to use verbal distillation. James Charles's allegations, calling them drama or lack thereof addressing it, to be frank, but diluting it only to allegations. Or, Tana Mojo, when she made her scandalous merch, she's just saying that like what she's been through is scandals, despite the fact that there's far more complex undertones such as microaggressions and kind of masked misogyny and other such problematic topics that she's kind of all gathered into this one term. It's kind of like when people use super simple visual diagrams to depict something that is extremely complicated. What I can remember from my time in chemistry, so I've taken four chemistry courses in my lifetime. This is an example of your three-dimensional diagram of the atom versus your Bohr-Rutherford diagram. That's kind of like your Bohr-Rutherford would be your distillation, where this looks crazy and this looks easy. That's the best way I can explain it. And finally, we have what's called visual dramatization. Girl, you know who I'm gonna say. You know. Little Miss B-roll Shane Dawson. Shane Dawson uses visual dramatization constantly. His Jeffree Star series had like a 2-minute cinematic intro. And a theme song and shifts in bass. He would have the camera, Andrew's camera work. He would have in editing, like pops, like zoom in quickly, zoom out quickly. Like I said, he would use like stock footage overlapping different things. He would have kind of panned footage. Like these are making super meaningful shots and super meaningful conversations and topics look super dramatic. Like one that I can think of off the top of my head is when Shane Dawson's like crying in the bathroom because he didn't get enough money from his Amazon merch deal. Like the shots around that are like coming after him in the hallway and opening the bathroom door and seeing him in there, and then Andrew zooms in on him. Like that's a very strong use of visual dramatization to kind of make sure that people actually stay sympathizing with Shane Dawson rather than being frustrated that, despite the fact that he's infinitely wealthier than the general audience, that they can still feel bad for him because he didn't make as much as he could have. Because there's times when everyone could have gotten more of something, right? And that's because of that shot that made everything look a lot more sad than it really was. The fact that he could have gotten an extra $1 million that he didn't really need. But yeah, there's our 5 topics with our 5 YouTubers. Quick, run through again. Personalization. Telling personal stories to build relationships. Storytime YouTubers Tana and Gabby are my examples. Number 2, self-disclosure, sharing personal convictions and experiences. Leaving the Mormon church, leaving Christianity, the feeling of the atheist notion, the convictions, Jimmy Snow. Number 3, conversational tone, utilized by Sister James Charles by calling everyone sisters, for never really talking about deep topics, for keeping everything light and bubbly and fun, even down to how fast he talks, same, and how he kind of like depicts his messages. Number 4, Amanda Ensing and the verbal distillation of diluting people that disagree with her into woke Twitter or woke America. And finally, visual dramatization, Shane Dawson's B-roll shots. Anyways, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys have a great day wherever you are. Please suggest new video topics in the community tab that I will put up at some point with another meme. And also let me know if the paradox of cloud chasing video would be something that people would like to watch. Please subscribe or whatever. Do what you want. I don't know. I do appreciate it. And yeah, like I said, podcast probably soon. We'll see. Depends on what Gabby Hanna puts out. I do want to like let some videos roll over, but I love you guys. I'm very happy to be here. Super, super grateful. And you guys have a great day. Bye.
Can't believe this actually happened in a Quebec grocery store.
Whoa, what the fuck? Qu'est-ce que tu fais là? Tu sais pas lire en français? What? Oh, whoa, what the fuck? Est-ce que t'as pris lemonade ou la limonade caliste au Québec?
Je suis désolé.
C'est quoi, big? Ferme ta gueule. Reviens-moi de bord et des calistes.
What?
Turn me around, tabarnak.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Des Chris, fuck you English!